Welcome to Danae and Dominic's Digital Ethno-Narrative Project. This project was created for the Family Systems and Diversity course with Dr. Solheim at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. For our project, we interviewed an individual who is from the United States. She is Somali-American and identifies heavily with the Somali culture, which we'll be discussing today. Before showing you the information we've gathered from our interview, we would first like to discuss the background of the Somali culture with specific regards to family demographics and cultural norms. In the family structure, Somali women are expected to submit to the men and to fulfill their duties as daughters, wives, and mothers. Although some women in the cities hold jobs, the preferred role is for the husbands to work and the wives to stay at home with the children. Female and male children participate in the same educational programs, and literacy among women is relatively high. The main focus of the Somali culture is on the family. Family is more important than the individual in all aspects of life. In Somali culture, children will live with their parents until they get married. Girls are usually married off at the ages of 14 and 15. Marriage in Somali culture is viewed as a rupture and renewal, signifying moving out and into your own home and creating your own family. Because family is highly valued, Somali wedding ceremonies are not primarily about the bride and groom. They are about the extended families. Whether the couple is present does not matter all that much, so long as the heads of the two families are in attendance. Marriage between clans is common. Membership in a clan is determined by paternal lineage. Typically, marriages in Somalia can be arranged or a result of personal choice. This culture does engage in polygyny, where the husband can have multiple wives if they can afford to take care of that household. Divorce does occur, however, the proceedings must be initiated by the husband. Another core part of the Somali culture is religion. In Somalia, Islam is the dominant religion. The vast majority of Somalis are Sunni Muslim. In times of sickness or marriage, all resources are pooled, and it is understood that whatever you have is not just yours. Somalis who have immigrated to the United States will send money back to their families and even to close friends and neighbors. As far as Social Security, welfare, and elderly care institutions, they do not exist in Somalia. In conclusion, Somalia scores very low for most humanitarian indicators, suffering from poor governance, protracted internal conflict, underdevelopment, and economic decline.
So before we begin, can you state your name, age, and where you are from?
My name is Suad. I'm 20 years old and I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Nothing in your culture or anything?
I mean, in Arabic it means beautiful.
Okay.
And there's meaning behind like my mom choosing the name.
You want to go into that?
It's just the fact that like she's always wanted a girl,
Mhm.
and that she said whenever she gets like her first born, if it's a girl or like her first daughter, she's gonna name it Suad. And then she kind of fought for my name. Like my culture relies, and I feel like there's like it's very out there. It relies on religion, so everything is around religion, and besides that, I'd say it also goes off of the food and just the heritage and everything. So it would, I think that's all I can say.
American.
Somali-American.
Okay.
It's because I was born and raised here, so I'm gonna conform to the American ideals, but once again, I'm still Somali.
For sure.
So it's like it's a mesh of both. It's like the best of both worlds.
For sure.
Yeah.
American.
I was just telling my friend, I was like, it's a mesh of food. So it's like Somali food and American food. It's the language. It's speaking Somali with English in it. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
not full Somali. It's like, hey mom, I just wanted to tell you. No, it's like, hey Hoya, you know, teacher King of Mathematics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like a mesh of. It's like if you were outside looking in, you know, like majority of what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And also just our ideals are much more different here than in Somalia. Like it's more it's more lenient. It's not as strict, and we're more open-minded with American ideals.
Okay.
I'd say
Well, definitely.
the fact that like it wasn't recognized and it wasn't a holiday, and like I would always miss things in class because I was celebrating my religious holiday, so it wasn't set back in a barrier. But
Wait, what is it called?
Eid, so it's EID.
Mhm.
It's twice a year, one after Ramadan and one after going to the Hajj.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Can you describe it a little bit? Like, what is it?
So typically what we do is the day of Eid, we wake up, you know how we have 5 daily prayers? We actually, after the morning prayer, or is it after morning prayer or is it during? So I would say after morning prayer, we go to the mosque and we pray. And it starts off like that, and then you go home, you know, have breakfast with your family. Most families tend to go out. Most families tend to stay in. And for the rest of the day, it's like festivities. It's having fun, meeting family, you know, eating Somali food, Somali desserts. And, yeah, it just stems off of that. It's like a day filled with happiness. Annoying because we conform to gender roles a lot.
Okay.
So it's like you're the woman in the house, the daughter is supposed to help the mom, the boys are supposed to help the dad. So it's like very irritating for a girl who's raised in America because that's not the belief here.
Right.
And when you see your friends not doing that, when you see your friends more like allowed to do other things, it makes you feel like buried in. You know what I'm saying? So that's one cultural fact like that I hate, and that's like we kind of express, and I feel like all Somali families express.
Is it Somali families or Somali families in America?
No, in general.
So like the traditional gender roles
Yes.
aren't.
That's apparent. Like it made its mark in our culture, and that's one thing I hate.
Okay. Different cultural standards.
Once again, I did say religion plays a huge factor in our culture.
Right.
So like everything we do culturally is based off of religion. Like every religion is the guideline. So I think when it comes to like non-Somali friends, it's always the whole not eating pork or like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the whole not eating pork, the whole, you know, and it's just like the way we treat our parents and friends and everything. It's much more different. Like there's a lot of things that's different. And I can't pinpoint. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Okay, like over here, one thing we Somali Americans do is we always say wallahi, which is like swear on God's name. And that's something common like in America and like the European, but it's not common in Somalia.
Okay.
It's common between like, it's only common with like more modernized Somalis where we say wallahi. And like the older parents are like, oh my, these kids, they're so irritating. They're always swearing. Oh my God. It hasn't changed, but there's a lot of Somali Americans who are unable to speak the language.
Okay.
It's hard because they were born and raised here. So some can, there's like a few that can, but I feel like a vast majority of the Somali Americans lack like Somali language. And the parents know this too. And that's one thing they're like, had I just, you know, brought them here when they were 10, maybe they would have been able to speak Somali. So I think that's like one downfall to being Somali American. I'm not trying to generalize, but there is some.
True. So how do you think that affects like parent-child relationships?
It really does. It does. It's because once again, the Somali mom does or the Somali parent doesn't know the American values or beliefs, and when the child is trying to explain to the parent, they don't understand because they don't understand English, or they don't understand English fully. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the child is unable to speak Somali, or kind of, you know, express what they're feeling, and the parent is unable to speak in English. So it's like there's that whole barrier of like the parent being unable to parent, and the child's like, you know, unable to, you know, wild out and be, you know, who they are type of thing. But yeah.
And as far as like religion playing a big role in your culture, how does it affect religion at all, or is it pretty much they just saying like are they able to figure it out? As far as like the language barrier, so are they still able to practice the holidays?
Yeah, because religion comes in many different. Our religion, it can come in like many different languages, so you can kind of interpret it into English.
Okay.
You know, you have resources to interpret it into English, or if you're, you know what I'm saying, or if you're not English, you can interpret it into Somali. So there's more leniency when it comes to the whole Quran, because Quran is Arabic, so there's much more leniency with that. But Somali language, you don't have no English. Google can't even help us. So it's like we don't know.
So your parents, siblings, cousins, extended family.
Culture, a lot. I mean, the food we do, just like I said, the beliefs, it's the, and one thing that comes with Somali culture is tribe. So is they do tribe marriage. When it's like a topic, it's like, oh, marry within a tribe, So all those issues that have like that are apparent at Somali back home is still an issue here. I'd say like wearing the everyday typical household bati, where it's like a gown that we Somali girls wear at home. So it's like much more like, it's like, I wouldn't say pajamas, but it's like an everyday homeware. And the fathers or the sons wear something that it's a skirt. So it's funny to say because people are like, oh my God, like a man wearing a skirt,
Sure.
But it's like for him, it's like, everyday homeware, you know what I'm saying? And like the food I said, everything that's cooked at home is Somali food. Like you barely see like American food. Language, just the same. I guess that's all. Sorry, good question. Somali people love kids. They love kids. I have 6 brothers and 1 sister.
So it's 8 of you guys in total?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was just talking to a girl. I thought mine was crazy. A girl said she has 12 siblings.
Oh my goodness.
It's because we value a big family.
Yeah.
We love it. And like, I even see with my mom when she sees someone that has only a child, she's like, oh, she feels bad for them. I'm like, I don't know why you're feeling so bad, but like, it's valued that you have a lot of kids. And I feel like people see you as higher up if you have a lot of kids, I guess. Because it's like, oh, wow, look, she has amazing, like, she has a lot of kids. She has a lot of people to rely on. And, like, it took me years to realize that I guess she did this because I never understood, but I feel like now it's like it gives her more leeway to rely on us, I guess, and to have, like, a sense of community, Like, my dad, every time he tells me, like, yeah, I have, like, 5 sisters or this and that, and I have, like, 3 brothers. I'm like, yeah, why? And he says, like, and I remember he was like, we're unable to keep in contact with them. I'm like, why? He said, because there's so many of us. I said, well,
Right.
Try harder. Yeah.
Right. Generation 2, like, are you gonna have?
Yeah, I will tell you the truth because it's fun. It's really fun. Yeah, all these kids, like, there's always something going on. It's never a dull moment. Like, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like, if you have a barbecue or like a gathering, it's like all your brothers and your sisters coming with their kids, plus your kids, plus your cousins. Like, I think you need an auditorium for that. That's not no backyard party. It's really, I mean, first I was like, I hate it because, like, it's like, once again, if I get something, they all have to get it.
Right.
But it's like, if you're able to afford it, it's gonna be fun.
Okay.
And your husband kids, your husband, cousins, and family, it's gonna be wild.
Kids. Right.
It's gonna be wild.
So okay, so you have to be married.
You're shunned if you have kids outside of marriage, and it's because of the religion.
Okay.
It's gonna be such a hassle with the person's family and your family and people looking down onto you, and then people actually like slandering your child, and it's crazy. Like, they make it more sacred. I was told a story, like, unfortunately, like, a girl, and back home in Somalia, I think she unfortunately got raped, and then she was because she felt like she didn't want people to know that she got raped, she married the guy to hide that, because it's such a sacred thing. Like, we don't believe in, like, having a kid without getting married.
So that tradition still holds true even though you are in America.
Yep,
where
it still
totally
does.
Okay.
Because once again, our culture's religion is based off of religion. So it's like, yeah.
So you stick. Are they still in Somali? Oh,
Both of my grandmothers, but my grandfathers no.
okay. So do they live with you all, or do they live separate?
One of them actually lives with us. My dad's mother lives with us, but my mother's mom doesn't live with us.
Is it typical for the grandparents to live with the children and the grandchildren?
No, I feel like my mom, I feel like they did this because, like, if they give the grandparents a choice, like, do you want us to, like, support you, help you, you know? And if they say yes, yeah, they can stay with us. And if they don't, we make them comfortable elsewhere. Like, you know, we always see them. My mom calls her mom, like, 3 times a day.
Okay.
Like, my grandma's always calling us every day.
Right.
So it's not like, it's not something that's, like, placed upon us, but it's, like, something we are open to doing.
Got it.
First they were like, it's because my dad used to work at the U.S. Embassy before the Civil War in Somalia. So like they brought him to Michigan. He didn't like Michigan.
Okay.
He didn't like, there was not resources for him. And then I guess they said there was more resources here in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. So they went to Marshall, had their kid there. Went to Rochester, had the kid there.
Okay.
And then they went to Minneapolis and had the rest of us here. And it's because I guess the Somali population was growing back then. Mm-hmm. And they were like, if we're not going to raise our kids in a Somali like atmosphere or in our homeland, might as well raise them in a place where they're going to see more of them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I guess that's. It's good. It's good. It's very good. But once again, there is like that barrier. Mm-hmm. But because they've been here for 30 years, I feel like they're much more accustomed to the American values and norms. They do implement Somali values onto me, but it's a very tight knit, you know, relationship between the mother and the father.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like more like if my mom needs help, she's gonna ask me. Mm-hmm. You know, she confides in me because it's like, because she'd done the same for her mother. I remember she always would tell me like, oh, why don't you help me? Like, I used to do the same for my my mother, like, even when, like, her brothers wouldn't help, like, her mom felt more happy knowing that she can rely on her daughter, and she wants to be the same for me. And, I mean, I don't have an issue with it. I actually, like, I like to know that she relies on me. Mm-hmm. But it's, like, it gets irritating when your brothers start to have this belief of, like, you have to do everything. You have to cook. You have to clean because you're the girl. Because it's, like, you're not teaching these kids, you know, I mean, you're not teaching these kids to have the right mindset. Like, my brother just, like, I think 2 weeks ago said, something, you're supposed to cook for me, and you don't know how to cook. And he's, like, 13. And I said, I literally yelled at him. I said, you're not supposed to have this belief. I said, you're supposed to cook, too. Just as I'm supposed to cook, you're supposed to cook, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's, like,
that was a little bit more equal, just having friends who are.
I think it's my beliefs, because I've always believed like that. Mm-hmm. I really, because I'm okay with helping my mom, but once again, it's like I don't like the belief of like the men not also being seen as someone who can cook or clean. You're doing everything, but no, I was like, I'm making everything equal. Like, if she cleans, he's gonna do this. If he cooks, she's gonna do this. You know, I don't want to teach him that.
Right.
You know, because I don't know. I just feel like it's not gonna be fair for like, if I raise him to believe that he doesn't have to, you know, get his hand dirty, he's gonna probably teach his kids, my grandkids, that. And I wouldn't want that.
All right. Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
Typical Somali family in Somalia? Mm-hmm. No. If they see like, because I do help my mom or whatever, but then if they see me like not do majority of what I like, if they seen what I did now, it's like, damn, like, you see how they're treating, like, you see how their daughter is like more, you know, sleeping in the morning, you know, not being more like present in the family or whatever. And also the way I dress, I guess, because like I don't dress too modestly. Everyone knows this. I don't dress too modestly, but it's like, I think that's one issue they would have too. It's like, oh yeah, there goes a girl and I'm very loud. So like they'd be like, the girl is too loud. Who's this daughter? You know. Right. So that'd be an issue too. But I feel like our family wouldn't be able to live there for more than I think 2 weeks. I'm not gonna lie.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No. Surprisingly, no. Because I have a big mouth. I feel like that's the only reason why. I have a very big mouth. I was just telling my friend this. I tell my mom everything. Right. And, like, even if she disagrees, it's like, at least I'm telling you, you know, at least you should feel happy that I'm not hiding this fact about you, you know? But I'm more straightforward. No, but I'm straightforward with my mom as opposed to my dad.
Okay.
As you know, my dad is once again, he's very like super cautious with everything. So I instead tell my mom, who's much more, modernized and cool minded. So it's like I tell her everything.
Right.
But they're boys, like, but it's like they sort of tell my mom things, but then it's like they keep things to themselves. Like they're more to themselves. When they're at home, like you really don't hear much about them. They don't express a lot about themselves.
Is that typical? Or is it just...
Because sometimes they want their men to be masculine. And I know my dad says that about my brothers when they cry. He's like, you're not supposed to cry. You're a man. Men are not supposed to shed tears. But it's like, I think that's the reason why they don't express it, because they've been always shunned and kind of, shut down whenever they were, being more vocal about how they feel.
Okay.
But, yeah.
And I'll have to ask, are those applicable to Somali culture as well?
Yes. Somali culture, yes. There's a lot. But it's like we don't... I don't agree with it. I don't disagree with it, but it's like if anything happened to me that, like, if I had a mental health issue, my mom would read Quran on me because she feels like the word of God is gonna help me overcome it. I agree with it a lot, but then there's other parents who just shun the whole topic. And don't see it as a mental health issue. And they're just like, oh, yeah, it's because they're not close to God, or, yeah, it's because of this. And this, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it is shunned a lot in the U.S. And I feel like there's even a lot of U of M students who actually, like, make there's, like, meetings, is it? Or, like, there's events that it's held to talk about mental health issues, or, like, how we stigmatize it in the Somali community. Mm-hmm. So it's an issue. We all know it's an issue.
Yeah. Okay. And then...
So once again, everything I do today is because of my parents, and it's because of everything they've went through. Like my mom would always tell me stories of like way back in like 1992 to 1997, her trying to struggle to find food for us, and her being unable to like speak English to kind of tell the physicians what's wrong with her kid, and like it pushes me more in school because I know she fought for me to be in this position right now.
Right.
And education back in Somalia, it's not the same here. Okay. So my mom would always say like, take advantage here, get your diploma, go back to Somalia and build. Because once again, that's where you're from.
Right.
So, yeah.
Do you plan on doing that?
Yeah, definitely. My people are crazy, girl, but I love them. They're very crazy. But I would love to build Somalia because once again, it's like I don't want to lose. I've never been there before, but it's like I want to go back because I don't want my future kids to lose their home or their language or their culture because it is important.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.